Greetings and welcome to week 8 of COMM 110. This is our final week of class before the week that you deliver your first major speech, the informative speech, which you're going to be doing next week. So this week the coursework is a little bit light because one of the things that you should be doing this week is sort of ramping up or increasing the rate and volume of your preparations for next week's informative speech. So we have just one chapter from the text this week, and we don't have any discussion forum, no talking about speaking discussion. So apart from that one chapter that you'll need to read and take the reading quiz on, all of your time and attention that you're devoting to this class this week should be on really getting going on those preparations for your informative speech. The one chapter that we are doing this week is chapter 14, and it is on the last area that you need to know a little about or learn a little about before you deliver your first major speech next week, and that is delivery. The actual delivery and giving of a speech. We have so far this semester, during the first half of the semester, been looking at all of the individual steps that go into the preparation process for a speech. We've looked at audience analysis, we've looked at topic development, we've looked at research. Just last week we looked at creation of an outline and creation of speaking notes. And so this week we sort of put the last piece of that puzzle in there as far as the process of speech preparation with the topic of speech delivery. One of the things we're going to learn about this week, and have already learned about a little bit back in the first or second chapter, is different types of delivery, such as impromptu delivery, manuscript delivery, memorized delivery, and extemporaneous delivery. And you'll read about those and learn a little bit more about those different kinds of delivery. But I want to emphasize here and make a real point of pointing out that the type of delivery that you need to be using on all of your speeches for this class is extemporaneous delivery. Extemporaneous delivery is one in which you do not write out the entire text of your speech word for word. If you do that, that is called manuscript delivery, and you should not be doing manuscript delivery for your speeches in this class. You should be doing extemporaneous delivery, which is creating an outline that is in the form of full sentences, but what you actually have in front of you while you're speaking are speaking notes, like we learned about last week, that have just key phrases, individual words that are key words that are designed to jog your memory or help you remember what it is you want to say at the different points in the speech. And the exact words that you are saying, you are making up as you go along while you are speaking. And so that means that as you practice your speech, and you should be practicing it at least a couple of times before delivery, you may say the content of the speech a little differently than you're going to when you actually deliver it. You know, every time that you deliver that speech in practice or in the actual delivery for submission for class, the wording is going to be a little bit different, but the content should be mostly the same because it's still based on that content outline that you have created. So besides the reading quiz for chapter 14, there is actually one other thing that you will need to submit at the very end of the week on Sunday night, but it is an element of your content outline that you will be doing as a step for being prepared for the informative speech, and that other piece is the heading for your informative speech. That heading is due on Sunday night, and it consists of just a few items of information that will be in a heading at the top of your content outline. It'll have the topic of your speech. It will have your specific purpose or exact purpose statement. It'll have your thesis statement and your organizational pattern. All of those should be on the heading for the informative speech that you will submit a few days in advance of the actual informative speech itself, because what I will do is I will take a look at your heading, at your heading, and just make sure that you're on the right track. And if there's anything that seems to be a little not quite right in terms of your organizational pattern or your specific purpose statement or these sorts of things, I will let you know in advance of when you actually submit the informative speech in the middle of the week, middle of next week. So as I've been saying, everything, all the other time that you're devoting to this class this week, you should be working on these preparations for your informative speech. Everybody should by now, by virtue of last week's discussion forum, have their specific topic for your speech. You should be in the process, if not even almost completed, doing research on your topic. Remember, you have to have 5 research sources on your Works Cited page. And you might even by the end of this week be reasonably far along in the process of creating your outline for your informative speech. And I just want to emphasize again, the organizational pattern is really key to this. We learned about organizational patterns a few weeks ago, and so you will select a particular organizational pattern, either chronological, spatial, topical, possibly a cause and effect or a problem solution type pattern. But that organizational pattern then will dictate how the main points of your speech are going to be organized. If you have a chronological organizational pattern, the main points will be organized in order of the time sequence that they come in. Spatially, they'll be organized according to the spatial relationship between the main points. Topical, of course, is the one that's sort of default organizational pattern. If you don't, if your topic does not fit into one of these other sorts of organizational patterns, or probably better stated, if none of these other organizational patterns seems appropriate or suitable for your topic, then you can use a topical one in which you sort of have subtopics that can be discussed in more or less any order. One thing that you want to make sure to do in the informative speeches is to avoid any kind of persuasive content or any kind of a persuasive appeal. For this first speech, you are doing informative speaking. And so you should not be presenting an argument of any kind. You should not be trying to convince your audience of anything. You should simply be presenting information to your audience, providing them with information that they then can use for whatever purpose they see fit. We will, of course, be doing persuasive speaking at the very end of the semester and learning about it in the weeks leading up to the very end of the semester. But for the informative speech and also for the visual aid speech, which is really just an informative speech with visual aids added, for both of these first 2 major speeches, you want to avoid anything that has a hint of persuasion and keep things strictly informative in nature. So, at the very beginning of next week, you will have available to you some additional information that you'll need to finish those final preparations for your informative speech in regards to the self-evaluation that you'll be doing and the peer reviews, and you'll find out more about that next week. The one thing in terms of research is I'll have some more information about the Works Cited page and what I expect and what formats I want you to follow for Works Cited entries on your Works Cited page. So look for all of those things as the first elements in next week's course plan. And until then, study up on delivery in Chapter 14, begin really accelerating your process of preparation for the informative speech, aiming for handing in that heading for your informative speech on Sunday night. And as always, let me know if you have any questions at all about any of the things that you're doing in this process of preparing your informative speech.